just ask you this last question.
Uh-huh.
Has this plan, I mean, you have Buchanan there who is sort of drawing up basically a formula to how to approach a whole range of public functions. Has this operational plan that has been, at the very least, largely funded, if not organized, by the Kochs, and particularly Charles Koch, and friends, how much of it is? I mean, how narrow and defined is the plan, or is there a sort of a venture fund quality of this? Like, we don't know where the sweet spot is, so we're going to fund 50 of these, and 3 will come out, and we're going to let 1,000.
Yeah.
What is it?
That is so astute, Sam. I think it's kind of both. And I've actually read every bit of Charles Koch's writing that I can get my hands on. And most of his writing is about his business strategy. But I think if you read about his business strategy, you understand also how he's going to work politically, because he sees them as the same kind of enterprise. And so he talks about hiring above all based on values. And when he says that, I think what he's talking, particularly in these political operations, is people who share these libertarian commitments, and then they train them in Buchanan-style ideas about, how government works and what to do about it. But then Charles Koch is very much a kind of venture capitalist, and so his idea is here, exactly what you just said. Institute for Justice. You want to litigate to bring back the pre-New Deal Constitution? Here's a seed fund to get you started. Go do what you can do. So Clint Bullock takes the money and gets some cases to the Supreme Court for school vouchers and other things, and does pretty well. So Koch keeps investing. Now Clint Bullock is on the Arizona Supreme Court, put there by a Tea Party governor. There are some other efforts that haven't worked as well. But also, like, most of us are led to think that all of these things are separate. But Breitbart is connected to the Koch operation. Breitbart will defame people and destroy their reputations based on dishonest editing of videos, as they did to Acorn, as they did to Shirley Sherrod, as they're doing now to other people. But that's part of it too. But then it gives Koch plausible deniability to say, oh, that's not me. That's this other operation. I didn't know they were doing that. But you are absolutely right. And in documents that I have that I cite in the book, Koch says kind of exactly what you're saying, that he is just happy to provide seed money for all these different enterprises, whether it's the State Policy Network or the constitutional litigators, or, the grassroots operations they're funding now to try to, reclaim their name in black communities. All of these things. He'll give some money for it, and he likes people to respond to incentives, So if people can show him they're getting results, they'll get more money. And if they don't get results, then they'll get pushed aside or, shunted off to more less shrewd and calculating donors. But it's exactly what you say, that it's kind of a combination of, wanting that ideological commitment and commitment to the program and the plan is kind of a core thing, but then it's like, go invest in something, go do something new. They even have a Motion Pictures Institute now that's producing, trying to produce freedom-minded films and training young interns, and there's just a ton of money flowing, and anybody who has a good idea for how to advance their cause and shows that they'll be disciplined and toe the line and work with the program, they'll get money from this donor network. They just said at this latest convention they had 400 people attending, and they're supposed to give $100,000 each. So this is the kind of $100,000 per year they have to pledge to get into the Koch donor network. So you can imagine what a cash flow this creates for, as you said, continuing to support, of course, the groups that have proved themselves, like the Cato Institute and Heritage Foundation, and Grover Norquist, but also funding all these little, we could say startup operations on the right.
Well, whatever it takes to make sure that children don't have health care. Sky's the limit.
Touche.
Nancy MacLean.
I shouldn't laugh.
Well,
a viewer, can I just say, somebody on another radio show actually wrote to me and said, that about like my wry laughter at some of these things. But frankly, it's because I don't want to cry.
Yes. No, I think
so appalling.
Well, I think
I am gobsmacked.
You just described basically our elevator pitch for this show. Nancy MacLean, the book is Democracy in Chains, A Deep History of the Radical Right Stealth Plan for America. Thank you so much. We will put a link to your book at majority.fm. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos